Wholeness, beautiful beings, welcome to Notes of Nara. My name is Naja Rashida, and may this message find you whole today. So, yes, lots to talk about in the month of September. I hope everyone had a wonderful, splendid August. I know I did. It was a great gift, to be able to travel and to, visit another country and to explore a potential pathway that I'm planning to take in my life, and I'm planning to embark in my life, but there's always a big but, right? But before we get so locked in, right? That's a phrase that kids like to use now, locked in. We get locked into our future endeavors, our future plans, our future goals, and things we wish to desire to manifest into our reality that we so want to experience in our life. In the subject for this month, when it comes to presence, being in the now, facing what's right in front of you, being in the space of what is, not what if, right? We discussed a little bit about that in the heart space, your emotions, the love, the passion, the desires, the heart wounds, all those beautiful things, all that we cleared out in the month of August, I would believe, in my personal opinion. I did. I'll speak for myself. But I find, and I was not aware, because last week was a challenge. The week before my trip, there was an increasing amount of nervousness with excitement. And after the trip, there was just this stark uncovering, like someone ripped the blanket off of your body in the middle of the night, and you're sleeping, you're in deep sleep, but you just feel uncomfortable and cold and exposed. And that's how I felt last week, and I couldn't quite pin where this feeling was coming from, because naturally I'm extremely intuitive, and I'm pretty much hypersensitive at this point, right? And I've just become more and more accepting of my gifts as I progress and evolve on my path. So today's topic, I wrote the presence, the eclipse, ginger tea, and the burning of karmic programs. Hashtag Saturn's return in Pisces. Hashtag eclipse September 2025. Okay. Yes, we are in a major cosmic, well, I'm not going to say cosmic, but I would say major eclipse. And last week I was feeling this beginning of an end, right? The beginning of an ending. And I don't get too tied up in astrology and horoscopes and zodiac signs, because we're all of the signs, and all of the signs are just archetypes of our consciousness. They're archetypes that are symbolic of the aspects of who we are. We have many, maybe sometimes, I don't want to say dozens of archetypes, but we have several of them. And that's why this book, Sacred Contracts, that I still haven't finished reading yet, okay, goes deep on that. But I will say, yesterday I did a lot more. I started purging. I just started purging energy. I think it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, just purging, doing my energy cleanses, and really, really stepping that up, because I'm like, I feel a major closing and a beginning. And I was speaking with a dear connection of my heart the other night, and it was very interesting, because we were on the topic of endings and beginnings and endings, and how they can simultaneously exist at the same time, right? Because for there to be an ending, then that ending, you're graduating into the beginning of something. And at the beginning of something, you're leaving something behind, or there's a closure of some kind behind you. And so brought that up in our conversation, our discussion last night, and it really made me, with endings, they don't always have to be horrific. They don't have to be the end all be all. It's just the acknowledgement of an ending of a behavior, an action, a mindset, a paradigm that you are no longer needing to take with you on the journey. It's like, hikers, they have that one big backpack. Well, it's like the cosmos, universe, God, source is saying, your higher self, soul is saying, pause, stop, put down the heavy bag, and I'm gonna need you to go inside and get that 111th canteen that you thought you needed for the journey. I'm gonna have you take that out and put it off to the side, because you don't need that. You're not gonna need it any longer. There was a time where you needed it. There was a time where you were collecting more of it. Right? And that has to do with the wounds, the baggage, and certain mindsets and certain belief systems that we carry. We carry with ourselves just for the protection, just to feel virtuous. Oh, look at me. Look at the scars I've bared and the weight that I bear on my back because I survived such a trial. And the universe is like, okay, like, we get it. That's very dramatic, you little human you. But pause, take off the bag, reach down in that very deep into that bag and pull out that canteen that you no longer will need on this upcoming journey. Because in order to move forward on this upcoming journey, we need you to be full of light. You see the play on words? We need you to be light. Light. Not carrying the shadows and the darkness of your past memories, or even the memories and past issues of other people, my dear empaths out there. And so that is what really came up very strongly for me yesterday, a Sunday. I mean, when you guys get this recording, I don't know when, because I'm making multiple recordings, because your girl's going to be, September is going to be packed. September is going to be a packed month for me, yes. So I'm trying to get ahead. But that's what I feel. And in this discussion, it was like, I was realizing in that present moment, at that moment, I'm like, oh, so it doesn't have to be this dramatic ending, And he's like, no, it doesn't. He said, in fact, I feel it is a beginning. I'm like, word. As you can tell, I'm using a black and white filter. And obviously anything that I do moving forward is intention. It's full of intention. It's intentional. I do believe in the spontaneity of life, but I use the magic and power of spontaneity in a very specific way. I love being spontaneous, but spontaneity has a very specific, like, certain frequency and space than when I pull out of my bag, right? But spontaneity is kind of back in the bag for right now. Okay, I did a little bit of that with my trip. Very spontaneous in a certain extent, but it was very fluid. But he did make a point. This beautiful person made a point, and it's, in order for a beginning, there has to be an ending at the same time. And here's the thing about this, and I'm going to link her information down below, because I'm very picky when it comes to energy readers, and I'm very, very picky when it comes to astrologists, people who, study the charts, birth charts and natal charts and all that, because it's all math. It's all mathematical, okay? But it takes a very special person to to weave their interpretation for all to understand and to understand. It takes a very magical person to do that, and she did a really good job. And so I watched a couple of videos on it, because I'm like, what? An eclipse? Oh, like that's why this has happened. That's why things feel the way that they felt for the past several weeks. I'm like, what is going on? Like, why am I, where, why? And then things came back around. I'll get into that. I'll get into the back of the things cycling right back to me, because that's really big in the next 4 to 6 months from today, September 1st. Okay, this is when I'm recording this. Yeah, it's quite interesting, this whole thing. And so as I'm sipping this boiling, piping hot ginger tea, because that is my thing. I love ginger tea. Ginger root tea is very grounding. So it's very earthy, has that earthy element because it's root. Okay, it's an actual root. And fire, because it's a bit spicy. Okay, but it's antiviral, antibacterial. It's really great for the lower energy centers, the digestive system, you know, your kidneys. Just really, really, really great to drink at least once a day. I usually try to drink it in the morning, but it's late in the afternoon now, so. Gee willikers. Oh yeah, so the black and the white. Okay. Black and the white filter. Now, usually I don't heavily edit these videos because the most important thing is the message, right? I'm pretty old school YouTube. I'm not knocking anyone who puts a massive amount of skill and effort in editing their content. I think that's a skill. I'm like, you have a lot of time. That is great. That's awesome. And, you know, and I was kind of going down that path with my music videos and all that, and teaching myself how to do all that stuff. I might return back to it in the future, but I keep it very simple because the message can be quite multi-layered, and I don't want it to be, the editing to be a distraction to my viewers, to, you know, to my wonderful beings here. So, but the black and white filter had me thinking, we are in the phase of life, death, rebirth cycle right now. I'm feeling it tremendously. I feel things through colors and through animals, through many different ways, but I've definitely, the raven medicine, raven spirit's very, very strong. The color black is very, very strong for me right now. And so black and white is that dualistic gray, white, black kind of space that we're entering into. And so it's not just a full moon Sunday, next Sunday. It's not just an eclipse. Eclipse seasons last for several months, and it's a long process, right? So that we can get back into the groove of a nice clean slate where the seeds can sprout, because seeds have been sprouting, or seeds have been planted, you know, for me on my path anyway. And I'm noticing that in this season of this powerful eclipse this month and the months to come, things are going to cycle in, and they're going to come in very, very quickly. I had an experience that came in very fast this summer. Almost blindsided me. Just boom. I'm like, whoa, what? You know, this is apart from the teaching job thing. And and I left that. I closed the door on that, and here I am. It cycled itself right back to me for a reason. And, you know, everyone, we have our guides. You have certain very specific ways that your higher self, lower self, higher nature, lower nature, soul, spirit will communicate with you. And mine is through animals. One of many, but through animals. And the raven was so strong with going, you know, it said fly back. I'm like, no, I want to go forward. This is my plan. It's like, you got to go back. Before you move forward, sometimes you have to cycle back to clean up, to tie up loose ends. Any karma that's meant to be burned away, because we're leaving, as this astrologist was saying, we're leaving the season of, I think Saturn was retrograde in Mars, so in Aries, and Aries is a lot of fire, okay? But now we're entering into Pisces, which is water, so that's heavy. It's a huge flip, okay? Huge flip, because you're leaving the heat and you're entering into cool waters. So there's going to be a lot of steam. With steam, you can't see things. You can't see things very clearly. So yes, revisiting karmic cycles for the last time. And we, as a collective, I feel in my heart that we are either, you have two choices. I like to simplify my spiritual interpretations and insights, okay? At least I try, because I'm on the other end, I overanalyze and overprocess a lot, like almost too much, but usually I try to hone in, right? We have two options. You have two options, I have two options. You can do this gracefully with these cyclical revisitations of old habits, old mindsets, old. They're coming back to you because it's comfortable. And here's the thing, the two choices. So you have a choice to release gracefully. The second choice is you can go to war with yourself. Going to war with yourself is a very tragic experience. You know, it's a hell that you create for yourself. You're literally in opposition with, it's like your higher nature, lower nature just declare war on each other. And because you're fragmented. You're not willing to let go of the old, of the tired, of the used, misused, abused. You're fighting it over gracefully, although it's uncomfortable and it's a bit painful, gracefully releasing it back to source. Just return to sender, okay? In love, of course. In the space of love, in the space of gratitude. If anything, during the eclipse, the best thing anyone can do in this time, this week, for the next 4 to 6 months is just show gratitude for all that you have, for all that you are releasing. Because if you do it full of resentment, you do it because you feel like I'm just gonna let this go anyway, out of bitterness, or because the world has disappointed you yet again, right? And you're sarcastic with it. No. You're gonna start feeling that war within yourself. Whatever is meant for you is coming directly to you, because it already exists. It doesn't have to. You don't. It's one of the secrets of manifestation. What you already desire already exists. The love of your life, the connection, the job, the career, the place to live, your community, they already exist through there's one version of you that is a vibrational match to you. And the only thing that's stopping that is your own limited belief systems, baggage, wounds, trauma, ego, programming, because it's already there. Still piping hot. Okay. Yeah, that was very important. So yeah, you can choose one or the other. What else should I share in this eclipse? In my last video, I mentioned structure, right? But being in flow, but being structured. Meaning, this is a powerful time to unlock your intuitive gifts. But be damn sure that you if you're getting such a message that tells you to move, to take a step back, to stay right in place, you had better honor that. Or again, you'll invoke an internal war within yourself. Or I would use the word jihad, which unfortunately has become so demonized. Unfortunately, it means spiritual war within the self, because that's what we're all facing constantly, right? But having a solid grounding practice for the 4 to 6 months, and I'm not saying don't start anything new. I'm saying create the space to receive. It's almost like if you think of a haunted house, and usually in film in Hollywood, there's a haunted house, but then there's like you have a haunted garden that was neglected and it used to be so pretty and loving. And, and I'm talking on a conscious level, like if you can imagine and envision this as I'm describing it, you walk through the haunted house, you're like, okay, this is my haunted house where all my skeletons are, my hurts, my wounds, it's scary here, but you're being led to the back of the mansion of your haunted house, right? And you're hearing, you feel this call to clean the garden. Just get some garden gloves, get a hoe, get some nice soil, and get to work. And you start pulling out the thorns. You start wiping down the cobwebs, the abandoned cobwebs, right? You start to dust off things. You begin to just move and create space for new flowers and just to brighten up the garden of you. And we all want to experience and, reap what we sow. But you better be mindful and ask yourself, is the ground solid foundation for me? Because beginning in May, and I believe late spring of 2026, just new. And I can't go any further than that, right? But all I know is plant your seeds, but this is the season to clean out the soil. Get out, uncover, get those skeletons out and bury them properly, right? Because sometimes we angrily just stuff those old skeletons somewhere and they just lay there and they're dishonored. No, you take each bone and you give gratitude, right? And you place it in the soil and you plant some seeds, water it each day. That is crucial at this time, because I'm going to tell you something. Anything karmic, meaning lessons that keep coming back because you're just not, it's not clicking, right? It's not clicking for you for whatever reason. So the lesson keeps coming back through a new relationship or a new connection or a new job, a new this, a new that. Pay attention. Give gratitude for the experience. But most importantly, whatever is being released from you, and you're doing it, let's just say you're doing the work. You're doing the work. Okay? Whatever doesn't belong by 2026 will be snatched. Will be snatched from you. So don't attach yourself so much to any kind of, to the old. Give gratitude for all that you have, the negative and the positive, the loving and the unloving. Give gratitude for all of it. Because even you may love something so dearly, so much, it may not be the thing that will sprout in 2026. Just might not be the seed that will sprout in 2026. Or the thing that was unloving and you gave gratitude for it. You released it. You released your attachment to that negative thing, that negative mindset, that negative connection, negative energy that was blocking a certain kind of connection or a certain kind of opportunity, right? 4-6 months later, because you show gratitude for the experience, no matter how painful and uncomfortable, that seed is now alchemized and metamorphosized into a sprout, and it begins to grow. It's very, very tricky energy readings, I've noticed on this platform. I've studied hundreds, probably thousands of them by now, since 2017. And I've been on the fence of doing energy readings for a really long time. Because to know the future is to be trapped by it. That's why I'm very keen on nature, because nature has its own cycles and it's very close. It's tied to a cyclical, spherical way. And I really vibe with that in my heart. I work with my medicines every day. Didn't too much on my time abroad because I was putting my focus on, very specific area. And I took a step back, which is okay, But I will say that showing deep appreciation for all that you have in this present moment, because there's just the newness of 2026, and it's a 1 year. You have 2026, so that's 8, 2, that's 10, then it's 1. It's a 1 year, 2. It's a new foundation. Come on. And we're in the year 9 as the collective endings. So get ready. Be ready. I haven't taken a sip of my ginger tea yet. That was nice. Yeah, I might make a video on my veganism journey. I eat very simply now. Very, like my body's changed. I feel like my body has changed from 10 years ago. 5 years ago. Like I don't eat, I'm not as hungry like I used to be. I eat when I'm hungry, when my body needs nutrients. I'm more focused on nutrients and mineral intake and processing of those things now than ever before. But I just got off topic, so that means that this message is coming to a close. So yes, that is my biggest reminder to you all, or message for you. I'm going through it. If I went into detail about like future planning, what? Where do I start? Yeah, I'm a magician. I'm a magician in life. I believe life is full of magic because I look at certain things in my life that were so intricate, that were so faith-based, like, that song, Jesus, take the wheel, like that. I've had so many moments in my life where I'm just like, I don't know where this is going to go, but I'm going to go. I'm just going to take flight and see what happens. And this big next venture is a big one. It's a big one. And it's like, nope, Nadja, I keep getting confirmations almost every day. Like, keep focused. keep focused. You know, it's all right. Take it one step at a time. And I'm just keep getting these little nuggets each and every day, and it's like slowly putting this, it's the puzzle, slowly creating this image ever so slowly, because if we're shown exactly how everything would unfold, exactly to the T, we wouldn't do it. We wouldn't do it. We'd be like, oh, hell no. That's way too difficult. Or, oh, hell yeah. That's amazing, but what? Like, you know, you're just like, I'm going to do what? I'm going to end up with who? I'm going to live where? If somebody would have told me last fall I would have left for Europe this summer, I wouldn't. I'm like, what are you talking about? I am on this path. I don't know what you're talking about. Caught me. I got caught. My higher self is like, get her, you know, like, you know, it's like, move quickly. She's got downtime. Get in there. Get in her consciousness. Let's see. So she can see what she's made of. So she can remember who she is. So she can see and expand herself. Not too thin. See, and that's the thing. It's about divine timing and releasing and receiving. Because when we try to expand our wings a bit prematurely, we end up, it's almost like that mythical story of the son and the father, they're building wings to reach the sun and the actual sun. And he's like, look, father, look. And it was his pride that killed him. Like he did reach new heights, but he reached a low though. And his wings, the adhesive on the wings, I forgot the story, yeah. But the wings melted, or the adhesive melted, and he fell to his death. And his father was in mourning. You know, so it's like I'm having to balance and juggle a lot. So I'm like, I can't get too ahead of myself, and I can't like not take action. And that's what I meant about the masculine and feminine energies. The dualistic, you know, I feel like it's coming more and more and more together. It's unifying. And through that unification, and we can be, and when you're present with that unification, you're a bad mofo. You're unstoppable. You're unstoppable. So may this message find you well and whole. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember to expand your consciousness, embrace your human being, and evolve. I just messed up the words, didn't I? Expand your consciousness, embrace supreme loving guidance, and evolve your human being. There we go. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon.